Hey everyone, I'm Jean and I'm from Mpub. Welcome to Naomi's class and welcome back if you've been to one of her classes before. I just wanted to introduce her and today she's going to talk about what to expect on the IELTS exam and kind of the outline of the structure of it. So without further ado, welcome Naomi and have a wonderful class.
Thanks so much, Jean. It's great to have you introducing the class today. Yeah, just like Jean said, if you haven't met me before, my name is Naomi. I'm an English teacher, and today is going to be the first lesson in a new series of lessons basically covering everything you need to know in your preparation for your IELTS exam. Welcome to everybody that's joining now. Thanks so much for joining us today. So happy that you could make the time to join us. It's really great. Just like I was saying, if you haven't seen me before, I just finished a series of 4 lessons where we looked at the basics of writing your IELTS exam. So the writing section, we looked at 2 lessons on the general IELTS writing and 2 lessons on the academic IELTS writing. So if you have any questions about writing, if you want top tips, if you want to understand how the structure works and some of the best ways to get those top band scores, I'd really recommend having a look at those 4 videos, which you can find on the Mpub Ielts Facebook page. Great. So without further ado, I am going to open my presentation for you guys. So today we are going to be looking at IELTS reading. IELTS reading. As you can see in that picture, let's just find out the best format for this. There we go. So with IELTS reading, let's try. Sorry, I'm just trying the different formats. Okay, here we go. As you can see, there's a little picture there in the slide. Basically, in this lesson, I just want to assure you that reading in English is not scary, okay? You can have fun while you are reading. There are so many different topics, so many different styles that you can read about. And when you're preparing for your exam, while it is useful to read a wide range of topics, it's also so important that you are reading regularly about things that you care about. So maybe you're a really sporty person, or maybe you are passionate about education, about free education for all. There are articles on wonderful websites like the BBC News. Any magazine will have a website, home care, food, recipes, anything you like. Make sure you are reading something every day. This is so important. We want to make sure that you're just getting used to reading in English, that it's not a scary thing for you anymore, that it just becomes a habit. Every morning when you wake up, don't look at your Facebook or your Instagram. Open that English article you've been waiting to read and start reading it straight away. Any words you don't understand, you can look them up in a dictionary. Some great online dictionaries are dictionaries like Lingui. I use this a lot. I'm just going to put that in the comments for you. It's a fantastic dictionary because it puts each word into context. So it gives you a whole sentence. Let's say your word is unusual. Unusual. It will give you lots of different examples where, for example, we could see it is very unusual for plants to grow without water. That's true, right? Plants need water to survive. It's very unusual for plants to grow without water. So you can see that word in context. If it's a verb, you can see it with different conjugations, and that's just a really helpful resource for you. Great. Some people are asking, what's your name? My name is Naomi. For anybody that is new, welcome to this lesson. This is the first lesson in a new series that is going to cover everything that you need to know about IELTS. This week, today and tomorrow, I'm doing 2 lessons on IELTS reading. Today, we're looking at the structure of IELTS reading, what you can expect in the exam, and tomorrow, we're going to be doing top tips to get you that high band score in your IELTS reading. Fantastic. So, what do I actually have to do in IELTS reading? What do I have to do in IELTS reading? Just have a think about that. If anyone knows, they can put that in the comments. It is so important that you are familiar with the structure of the exam before you go into that exam room. Maybe you're doing it digitally before you log onto that computer, yeah? We do not want any nasty surprises when we arrive. We want to be so confident, and how do we get that confidence? We get that confidence by having a really thorough understanding of the structure. Yeah, one of my key tips for you today. So what do I have to do in IELTS reading? Obviously, you will have to read. Yeah, you will have a variety of text that you need to read in 3 sections. In these 3 sections, you will have 3 different contexts. Normally, it will start with a social context. Then it will move on to some kind of training context, so text that you might find in job training, or maybe guidelines, a little bit more technical. And then the 3rd section is usually academic reading. So this could be something from a textbook, something maybe that you would read in university, but on the general IELTS, don't worry, you won't be given purely academic reading, yeah? This is where general and academic IELTS are different in the reading and the writing. That's what we need to remember. The listening and the speaking are the same in academic and general. The reading and the writing are different. So in general IELTS reading, you won't be given extremely technical academic texts. You will be given perhaps academic texts that are slightly academic, but not with overly advanced vocabulary. Yeah. Whereas in the academic IELTS, you might get academic papers with very, very advanced and analytical vocabulary. In the general, it will be not so advanced and not such academic language. Great. Hope that's helpful so far. Let's have a look in a bit more detail what I have to do in IELTS reading. Just so everybody knows, I'm mostly focusing on the general IELTS today. Okay, I'm mostly focusing on the general IELTS today. Academic IELTS is slightly different, but some of the things that I mentioned today will also be relevant for you. So if you are going to do the academic IELTS, you can stick along, no problem, but this is mostly for general IELTS, okay? So the structure of the reading part of my exam. First of all, when do I have to do the reading? What is the order of the exam? What is the order of the exam? Well, we start with listening. That's the first one. We start with listening. Then you have your reading. Then you have your writing. And to finish, we have the speaking. Yeah, so students often find the speaking the most difficult part of the exam, which is why it is actually fantastic, because the structure is made up so that by the time you have to speak, you are actually so warmed up. You're just in that perfect mindset. You've already read 3 texts in English, you've written 2 essays, you're all warmed up and you're ready for that speaking. Okay? And somebody has asked a question, which is a very, very fair question. Let's get their question up on the screen. What is IELTS? Somebody is asking. This is a great question. Why not ask this question? I actually gave you guys a definition in one of my other lessons, just because it's really important to know. It seems like a basic thing, but we need to know, what is the point of this exam that I'm taking? Why am I taking it? Yeah, IELTS is the International English Language Testing System, and it measures the language proficiency of people who want to study or work where English is used as a language of communication. Okay, IELTS is basically a test that is used for people who want to live, study, or work in English-speaking countries. Okay? So let's get rid of that. Let's get back to the lesson. Let's get back to the lesson. Where's the lesson got to? Just finding it for you here. Any other questions that you have, you can just pop them in the comments and we'll answer that. Let's get rid of this one. And here we go. So, looking at the structure of a reading exam. 40 questions. You will be given 40 questions, which are all related to the text you've got to read. Great. 3 sections. So normally in each section, you have 1 text. Sometimes in the second section, there are 2 texts. And finally, you have 60 minutes. Tanvir is saying, give some good tips of how to get a good number. Tanvir would say, please give us some good tips on how to get a good mark. Yeah, on how to get a good mark. Well, Tanvir, my next lesson tomorrow will specifically be giving you some tips on how to get those high band scores. But if you want to get those tips, it's so important. Sorry, if you want to get the high band score, it's so important that we understand the structure of the exam, which is why we're doing this lesson today. So hopefully this lesson will be useful for you as well, Tanvir. Okay, so that you really understand what will happen in the exam. 1 hour for this section, 3 sections, 40 questions in total. So about a question for every minute and 20 seconds, that kind of thing. Right, what will I have to read? You will have extracts from loads and loads of different sources. This is why it's important to be reading from loads and loads of different places. So if you have any English speaking friends or your teacher, or you can actually Google, there are loads and loads of different good sites where you can find things in English to read. Basically, anything that you're interested in, you can find something to read about. Yeah? If you love Harry Potter, great. Get the Harry Potter book in English, read it. That's going to help you so much. And you can look up all the words that you don't understand. Maybe some of the words won't come up in the dictionary if you're reading Harry Potter. Expelliarmus. That might not be in the dictionary, but that's really good reading. Then if you're interested in cooking, you can look up recipes I actually did that a lot when I was learning Spanish. I looked up recipes in Spanish, did them, had loads of fun. I was cooking, I was reading the ingredients in Spanish. Great. Had a delicious meal and learned Spanish. It's a win-win situation, isn't it? Or maybe you are interested in cinema. Great, you can watch lots of films, but also try to read film critics. You can follow a film journal, something like that. If you're interested in the news, some really good sites are The Guardian or The Independent or BBC News. Depends what kind of news you like. Al Jazeera in English. Pretty much all of these big news channels have their page in English as well, which is really great for when we want to learn English. Fantastic. What would be really great is if you have somewhere where you like to read English, you can just put it in the comments. If you have any sites that you can recommend to everyone else, just put that in the comments. That would be great for us. Yeah, anything you like reading in English, just let us know there in the comments. Great. So books, magazines, newspapers, notices. So even, it doesn't seem like homework, does it? But even just notices, I have here. Okay, maybe this is not a good example. Well, I have the instructions for my printer here. Yeah, has some instructions here. That is a great example of notices or guidelines. Yeah, it's telling me how to install my printer, but that's English as well. That's a different type of English to the English that I would find in a magazine or a recipe or a book, but it is just as important. And you might get some guidelines or instructions in your reading exam as well. So it's good to be familiar with all of these different types of English. Great. Wilfredo is saying, most people say you must not read when you don't know the correct pronunciation. True or false? What does everyone think? Most people say you must not read when you don't know the correct pronunciation. True or false? Wilfredo, I would definitely say false. Yeah? Of course, when we're learning English, maybe we don't know the correct pronunciation. That takes a long time. It's a long journey for us to get to a really high level in English. So at the beginning or even towards the end, even with my very advanced students, they might not know how to pronounce a certain word, but you can still be reading it. It's so helpful to expand your vocabulary, and you will also start getting used to different word orders, different structures. And Wilfredo, a really great tip in relation to your question here, a really good tip is when you get a new piece of vocabulary. So, for example, say I'm reading this book in English, right? I'm reading this book, I find a word, I think, I don't understand that word. I can look it up. If I'm looking it up on a good dictionary, like Lingui, an online dictionary that I recommended to you, if I look it up on a good dictionary, I can click on the pronunciation. That way, whenever I learn a new word, I'm not only learning the spelling and the meaning, but also the pronunciation. Yeah, that's a really good habit to get into. So in a way, Wilfredo, you're right. When we are learning new things, we should try to look up the pronunciation. That way, when we're revising speaking and reading at the same time. Amazing, right? I don't need to do an hour for each, but I'm doing them at the same time. But don't be put off, don't be scared if a text seems too long or too difficult, or you can't understand everything, or you can't pronounce everything, right? Because that's how we learn. It doesn't matter if we can't pronounce everything at the beginning. That takes time. I hope that was helpful, Wilfredo. And great, yeah. Snidga is saying, I like to read pronunciation from international phonetic alphabets. That is a fantastic tool as well. Phonetic alphabets are basically alphabets that have special signs for each pronunciation. So each type of sound that we make when we're speaking English. So you can get British pronunciation alphabets, you can get American English pronunciation alphabets, and if you go to a good dictionary, then it should be spelled out in that pronunciation alphabet. If you look at some of the pronunciation classes on the Mpub Ielts page, that should be helpful to you as well. I know there's some really good teachers that are doing pronunciation classes there. Okay, fantastic. So we've got that you might have extracts from books, magazines, newspapers or notices. Also might have extracts from advertisements. So even when you're on YouTube and these annoying adverts come up, that could be helpful. Or when you're on your favorite news site in English and adverts come up on the side, read them as well, right? Because that kind of English, you might be tested on that as well. Company handbooks. Again, I wish I had a longer one to show you guys, but I don't think I do. Just looking around me here. No, but a handbook, right? This is the instructions for my printer that I was showing everyone earlier. But a company handbook basically is like a guidelines or outlines the aims of the company and what the company does. So what kind of language would we find in a company handbook? Well, it would be very descriptive and normally quite technical. Yeah, quite technical and quite formal. Whereas in a book, particularly fiction, then we might find more informal, very, very descriptive language. Yeah, so in newspapers, for example, or on news sites, we might find language that is formal, concise. It's a very specific type of language, isn't it? So it's good to be aware of these different types of English that we will come across. And I recommend that, just like I was saying before, you read something every day. For me, the best time is actually, if you can, before you go to work, before you start your working day, or if you're a student, before you start your studying day. Maybe you start the day every day by reading the news. That's what I try to do. I try to read the news every day, although it's a bit depressing at the moment, isn't it? But if you're that person, if that's your habit, if that's what you like to do, then don't read it in your own language. Switch to English. Yeah, in pretty much any news channel, there's usually an English version. So you can switch to the English language for your favorite news channel or news outlet. Read that before you go to work. Harsh is saying, any suggestions on what to read? Well, Harsh, I actually suggest that you read anything and everything you can find. Make sure it's very, very varied. So this little list is actually really, really helpful. You can read books, find a book that you're interested in. Yeah, even in English, which is my native language, I find it very difficult. It takes me a long time if I read a book that I'm not interested in. Yeah, at the moment I'm reading, just seeing if it's here, in English, I'm reading the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. I found that so interesting. I can't put it down. I'm locked to this book. Yeah, find a topic that you are just as interested in, and because English is so widely spoken, the chances are that you will be able to find that book in English. Not with everything, but mostly in English. Also, if you have a childhood favourite book, it's a great idea to find that translation in English and read it in English, because it will be a story that you know already, right? It's a story that you know already, so it will help you to understand it more. I was mentioning before, Harry Potter is a great one. Lots of my students read that because they're big fans. And then magazines, newspapers, notices, advertisements, company handbooks, all these kind of things, great to read. Make sure you're reading every day and make sure it's varied. Not all from the same website, not all from the same book, lots of different sources. I hope that is helpful for you, Harsh. Let's just take this away. Thanks for that question there. Okay, great. Those are just some tips on what to read. And I'm telling you to read this type of material, not because it's just what I think you should do randomly, but this is what you will be tested on in the exam. Yeah. So not only will it improve your English in general, which is the whole point of this exam, right? We want you to be more confident and have a higher level in your English. So not only will it improve your English in general, but it will be what you're tested on in the exam. So if you're super lucky, maybe something you've read will come up in the exam. Maybe not, because I think they do create these authentically. It's original material normally, but if you read this type of material, you're going to prepare yourself so well for the exam. So well. Okay. So you've got to read this type of material, right? You've got 60 minutes, 40 questions. This is the type of thing you have to read. But how will I be tested? So basically, how are they going to check that I understand the text? That's what they want to see. They want to see, okay, Naomi has read this text and she understands. She knows what is going on. Yeah, she really knows. Well, we're going to go into this in quite a bit of detail today, so you know exactly how the questions will be, because that is a common mistake with students. They don't read the instructions through enough. They're not exactly sure about what they have to do. And this means that they make silly mistakes. They answer the opposite of what they wanted to say, or yeah, they've understood the text well, but they've not read the instructions. So just to give you a head start, to make sure you're extra prepared, we are going to have a look at the different types of questions that come up in IELTS. There are set different types, so there won't be any surprises. They won't suddenly say, okay, you have to fill out this graph or something completely new. No, it will follow the structure. So it will either be a gap fill, it will match headings to written text. What are headings? Headings are like titles. So, for example, a title might be all children under 3 to get free education. That could be the title. I have to match it to a certain part of the text that describes that scenario. Yeah, it's basically like mini summaries of each paragraph, and I'm going to match them together. Then complete sentences. So I'll have a sentence with a gap in it. I've got to complete the sentence so that it makes sense. Give short answers to open questions. So this is the one that students often get a bit worried about because it's not as formulaic, shall we say. It's not ticking a box or matching two things. You have to actually write what you think there. But don't worry, it's the reading exam. They're not testing your writing. They're just testing your understanding. As long as you're showing that you have understood the main ideas in the text, then you're absolutely fine. Yeah? Great. Or multiple choice. Everyone loves multiple choice. Just 3 options. Which one do I choose? Well, normally 3, sometimes 4. Choose the one that you think is correct. This seems so obvious, but do not leave any question blank. Okay, please answer every question. Even if you're not sure, put something down. You will not get negative marks for answering wrong questions. I'll repeat that again. You will not get negative marks for answering a question wrong. Okay, so important that we answer every question, because maybe I'm not sure what the answer is going to be. Yeah, maybe I didn't really understand the text. I found it really difficult, but I've got a question there. Maybe it's multiple choice or I'm matching 2 things. And it would just be such a shame to leave it completely blank. You at least have a little chance that you'll get it right. Yeah, you've got a little chance of getting it right. Great. So let's have a look in more detail. I believe there are, let me check this so that I don't tell you wrong. Yes, so there are actually 11 types. So here I showed you just 5 kind of general categories, but we're going to look at 11. Oh, I don't have 11 things. 11 specific types of question that you'll be asked. Great. So the first one is multiple choice. Multiple choice, like we said, it's a question with 3 or 4 possible answers to a question, or the first half of a sentence with 4 possible sentence endings. Yeah, so you choose one correct answer and you write that answer on the answer sheet. You don't need to write out the full answer, you can just write the letter. So the options will be A, B, C, D. You just write B or C, whichever one you think is correct. Okay, sometimes there will be more than one correct answer. Sometimes there will be more than one correct answer. This is where it's very important to read the question carefully, because, again, it would be such a shame to read it and think, okay, only have to answer 1, great, B, then D, next question C, next question A. But if there are more than one possible answer, you need to be really careful that you're making sure that not everything is wrong. Yeah, hope that makes sense. Even when it's multiple choice, don't think straight away. Easy, got this. Read the instructions. Okay, next one. True, false, or not given. This is when we have to identify information. So in a minute, we're going to look at true, false, or not given, talking about a writer's opinion. This one's just information. So in this type of question, you are given a number of statements and you are asked, do the following statements agree with the information given in the text? Maybe the text is talking about how Siberian tigers will be extinct by 2030. Yeah, you might get a statement saying Siberian tigers are already extinct. I look at the information in the article. No, it says they will be extinct. Okay, false. Maybe, now this is important, with the not given, maybe I have a statement that is completely not related. A statement that says blue whales are in danger of extinction. Have a look at my article. Okay, it doesn't say anything about blue whales. What do I need to write? Not given. Not given. So in this type of question, you're being tested on your understanding of specific information. It's not a general idea, it's kind of specific information. Happy with this one? Then true, false, or not given writer's opinion is slightly different. This is where you want to identify the argument given in a text. So you will be given a number of statements and you will be asked, do the following statements agree with the views of the writer? So, for example, it might say, everybody should look after Siberian tigers. If I look in the text and the writer is saying only scientists and specifically trained people should look after Siberian tigers, then I think, okay, what does the writer think? It's not about what I think. It's not about what I think. It's what does the writer think? Well, in this case, he thinks, no, it does not agree with the statement. Okay? Great. Hi to everybody that is joining now. We're just looking at different types of question that you could be asked on your IELTS reading exam. So number 4, what is this type? In this type of question, you have to find specific information in the paragraphs of text. The paragraphs are identified by letters like A, B, C. And you will need to write the letter of the correct paragraph in the boxes on your answer sheet. So you are essentially matching a question to a section of the text. Yeah? I think this one's pretty simple. I'm going to move on to the next one. And just in case anyone's wondering, oh, I'm really not sure about this, I'd really like to see some examples, you can go onto the IELTS page. There are examples for all of these. We will look at some examples at the end of this lesson. We're not going to look at examples for every single one, but we will look at 3 or 4. Okay, then we have matching headings. So in this type of question, there is a list of headings which are identified by Roman numerals, and a heading summarizes the main idea of a paragraph. So just like with the example before, imagine the text is about Siberian tigers. I could say maybe one of my headings is all animals should be looked after regardless of how dangerous they are. Okay, maybe this is the writer's introduction. Maybe as an introduction he's saying, it's our responsibility as humans to look after animals. So I would think, okay, which part does that match up to? Matching it to the introduction. Okay, these are quite similar, matching information, matching headings. Again, this one's quite similar. So you're not matching headings, you're matching statement or pieces of information to a list of options. So the options will be features from the text, and the letters are used to identify them. So maybe you have to match descriptions of inventions to the people who invented them, or something similar to that. So you're matching features all based on the information in your text, in the reading text. Okay, next we have another matching. Yeah, 4 different types of matching, yeah. Matching sentence endings. This is one of my favorites. I don't know why, it's just one of my faves. So you'll get maybe 10 or 12 sentence beginnings, the first half of the sentence, and then you will get lots of endings, which will be in the wrong order. You just have to match them up so that they A, make sense in the context of the article, and B, make grammatical sense. Here, it's kind of really useful to know your word order and your grammar structure really well, because sometimes that will help you to answer this kind of question, even if you don't fully understand the text, because not all of the sentences will match together. Because after certain words, we need a noun, we need an adjective, we need a verb, right? And we can't have 2 nouns next to each other. They're not all going to match. So you can use your grammatical knowledge to really help you in this type of question. Great. Similar with sentence completion. It's good to really know your grammar inside out. So in this type of question, you have to fill in a gap in each sentence by choosing words from the text. So this is different to the writing. In the writing, you don't want to use words from the instructions, from the little text that you're given, because you really want to show the examiner that you have understood it, and so you need to use your own words, paraphrase. Here, you can choose words from the text. So in that way, it's kind of a bit easier, I guess. The words in the sentence will be different, but the word that you choose, you can take it straight from the text. However, in the instructions, it will tell you a limit. So it might say no more than 2 words, and then you will know that, okay, I can't write more than 2 words in my answer. And if you write 3, you know, okay, something's not right here. I need to get rid of one of these words. Okay, and this is actually quite important to note. With most of these questions, the questions are in the same order as the information in the text. Okay, the questions are in the same order as the information in the text. So you don't have to be looking back and forwards. You can just stick to the same order. Yeah. Then we have the next one, summary complete. So in this one, you're giving the summary of a part of the text, and you have to complete it using words from the text. So the summary is normally paraphrased. It might be in a different format. It might be in a flow chart, lots of different boxes. It might be in a paragraph. It might be in notes, It might be in a table. So in this one, the answers might not be in the same order as the text. The answers might not be in the same order as the text. And in this one, the way that you have to complete the summary is kind of different in each case. So you need to read the instructions really carefully to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Of course, it's going to be different if you have notes or if you have a flow chart. Each one's slightly different. I believe we have an example of that at the end, so don't worry, we'll look at that. Diagram label completion. So in this type of question, you have to complete the labels on a diagram. The diagram is based on a description in the text. It might be maybe a type of machine or part of a building or other information in the text that can be shown in pictures. For example, here, I have my text about my printer, and here I have the pictures showing me in pictures what it says in the text. Yeah, you might get something like that, and you need to fill out the labels that are pointing to the pictures. So again, you can use words from the text, and there is normally a word limit with the words used from the text. Great. I know this seems like a lot of information, but you can find this online as well. And just like I said, if you go to the IELTS website, then there are examples of all of these, which is super useful. I know I found that useful while I was preparing this lesson. Great. Okay, don't worry. Coming to the end now, this is the last type. So question type 11, short answer questions. So in this type of question, you have to answer questions about factual details in the text. You must write your answers in words or numbers on the answer sheet. So your answers must be taken from words in the text, and like in the other ones, there's a word limit as well. It might say no more than 2 words or no more than 3 words from the text. So in this one, it's the only one where you have to kind of produce your own, explanation of your understanding. You can use words from the text. Just like we said, normally there's a word limit of about 2 words. But mostly you're using your own words to show your understanding. Again, don't worry, this is not a writing test. It's an understanding test. It just wants to see that you've understood the text. So it's fine to use very short answers. You don't need to write a full long sentence or paragraph. Short is fine. Yeah. Right, now we're going to have a look at some examples. So let's get to it. I know you guys want to look at the examples. This is always the most useful part, isn't it? So here's a lady saying, Let's have a look. I'm going to make the PowerPoint a bit bigger just for this part so that you can see the, there we go. It should be a little bit bigger now. Let's see if we can make it even bigger. There we go. Just checking on my screen. Okay, great. So here we have, oh, no, you've seen the next ones. I hope no cheating. I'm not going to touch anything so it doesn't move. So this is an example of a real question on a reading paper. It says, choose no more than 3 words from the text for each answer. So if you've ever seen an example answer sheet, you have kind of little boxes that you put your answers in, and each box has a little number next to it. So here it says, write your answers in boxes 33 to 40 on your answer sheet. Again, it's a small instruction, but make sure you read it because these little things are really important and we don't want to lose marks because of small things like that. Great, so it says the production process. Then I have to, let's just make this a bit bigger because I can't see that. Okay. So then I have to, what do I have to do? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little gaps in the sentences, right? So I want to, what do I actually have to do in this question? I'm just, sorry, it's just a little technical thing here. Then I need to change. So we're just trying to work out for that example question, what type of question is it? Yeah? What type of question is it? Let's just get back to it. I'm just going to share it with you again. So as you can see now, I'm going to go to this one. There we go. Share. As you can see now, here we go. What does it say at the top? It says complete the flow chart below. So this is a flow chart, right? What does that mean? It's a type of summary. It's a type of summary. So it's given me a summary there, but I have to fill out each line, right? So let's see, the newspaper is compiled at the editorial headquarters by the journalist. The final version of the text is to the printing centre. So it says here at the top, no more than 3 words from the text for each answer. So basically on this type of a question, I am using words from the text and putting them in these gaps here in order to complete a summary. This is just what we were looking at a minute ago. We were looking at summary complete. There are a few different ways that a summary complete will show itself. One of them is a flow chart, just like this. And in this case, we've got to fill out the gaps in the flow chart using words from the text. In this case, because I looked at the text before, the word was transmitted for the first one. The final version of the text is transmitted to the printing centre. So you just want to find the appropriate term in the text and fill it into your summary there. And again, no more than 3 words. You do get marked down if you write more than 3 words, so make sure it's just between 1 and 3. Great. Hope that's clear. Okay, we have another one here. So, do the following statements agree with the information given in the text? In boxes 1 to 8 on your answer sheet, write true if the statement agrees with the information, false if the statement contradicts the information, or not given if there is no information. So what kind of question is this? What kind of question is this? This is true, false, or not given, isn't it? It's true, false, or not given, and it's with opinion, not with, sorry, it's the opposite. It's with information, not with the writer's opinion, with information. It says it here in the question, so we know that we have to just look at the information in the text. Does it agree with this? Great, true. Does it contradict? Okay, I will put false. Can I not find that information anywhere in the text? I don't know what they're talking about. Not given. Be very careful there, because often these statements are very specific. They'll be looking at specific details and looking at your ability to make a difference, to understand differences in understanding that are sometimes very small, very detailed differences. This is where it's important to do a lot of detailed reading practice. You can find practice tests online, and as you do your daily reading, you will get better at this anyway, making sure you're searching vocabulary you're not sure with, and exposing yourselves to lots of different types of text. Great, so we've got here flowchart summary. We've got true, false, or not given with information. What do we have here? Okay, look at the 5 advertisements, A to E. That's my text. I can't see it here, but that's my text. I have 5 little advertisements. Which advertisement mentions the following? Write the correct letter A to E in boxes 1 to 8 on your answer sheet. So this is a matching question, isn't it? A matching question. I am matching, let's look at our types of questions. I'm not matching sentence endings. I am matching, I believe, features. Let's have a look at it again. Yeah, I'm matching features. So in general, I might have an advertisement that talks about lots of classes with practice examinations in them. I think great. Advertisement B talks a lot about these pretend simulation examinations and classes. Okay, I'm going to write B next to letter 3. Great, matching. Okay, next one. Last one, I think this is the last one. And it says up here, short answer questions. These are the ones that people get scared about. No reason to get scared. Just says, answer the questions below. Choose no more than 3 words and or a number from the text for each answer. So, question number 4. What has been found in some fancy foods products? If we have a very detailed look here. Ooh, already I can see Fancy Foods wishes to inform the public that pieces of metal have been found in some jars. Okay, what has been found in some Fancy Foods product? Pieces of metal. I can just write pieces of metal. I don't need to have a full sentence. And here it says no more than 3 words. Pieces of metal, 3 words, great. I'm within the limit, no problem. Okay, well, just to finish here, just got an image to remind you all that reading is a fun experience. Reading can open up whole other worlds to us, and it's not something scary. It doesn't need to be something that worries us. Make sure you're reading every day. something that you're interested in, but also something that you're not interested in, different kinds of topics that you don't normally read. Make sure you're exposing yourselves to all these different types and have fun with it. That is the best way that you can prepare yourself for your lesson. Great, I hope you all enjoyed that lesson and found that really helpful. And I will see you tomorrow for some tips on how to get that top band score in your IELTS reading. All right, have a great day, everyone, and see you tomorrow. Bye.